What's up, everybody? Couch Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. And in this video, we gotta talk about the state of Valorant. With the new updates coming through, the hype on Valorant isn't quite what it has been. So we're gonna talk about all the future plan changes, what has happened over the course of the past year with Valorant, and how is Valorant doing as a game, and what is Valorant gonna look like in the future. There's a lot we gotta talk about and break down, but without further ado, we're happy to announce today's video sponsor, the Sandbox. 5 of you will have a chance to win a fully prepaid Gamely Premium sub as part of this sponsorship, so stay tuned for more. The Sandbox is the world's largest multiplayer game where you can create an avatar and interact with over 300,000 players and over 200 of your favorite brands directly in the game, including Snoop Dogg, Steve Aoki, The Walking Dead, FaZe Clan, and Tony Hawk. There are over 90 experiences to play right now and more on the way. My all-time favorite experience is Snoop Dogg's Snoopverse because it's not just smoke and mirrors, but there is a lot of smoke. Okay, sorry. And the second experience that I enjoy a lot is FaZe Clan's because I'm a huge fan and it reminds me of a Squid Game survival experiment. There's also a ton of user-generated content. You can build high-quality escape rooms, dungeon crawlers, or even a whole new world. Sandbox Season 3 is happening right now, and there's only 30 more days to claim the rewards. They're giving away over 1.5 million sand, with the top prize being 30,000 sand. Now follow the steps below. Step 1, create an account first and download the game for free using our link below. After you click the link, just sign in with Google, Facebook, or Twitter and you're good to go. You don't need a crypto wallet to play as the game is completely free. Step 2, load into the alpha lobby and use the map on the website to teleport to different experiences and start completing quests for points. So download the game with our link and immediately get level 2, and when you're in the alpha lobby, find Snoop, screenshot and tag the Sandbox game on Twitter, and we'll pick 5 winners in a month to give 5 prepaid Gamely Premium subs to. Thanks again for Sandbox for sponsoring this video. Now with the new Valorant update coming out and Harbor entering the fray, hype should have been at an all-time high with Valorant as it is normally with characters being added into the game. However, for this release, hype hasn't quite been that high at all. I mean, there was an initial spike, and Riot definitely pulled out the big guns with the Giga Chad new agent and a freaking awesome Ion Vandal bundle, but it didn't really bring the hype to the maximum level in Valorant, and it kind of went away pretty fast. And unfortunately, Valorant has a couple of things working against it this time. First off, Valorant has been in a state basically where it's had zero competition in the gaming market for the longest time. And with Overwatch 2 coming out and people at least trying the game for a couple of weeks before they go back to whatever game they normally play, Valorant has taken that hit and it's definitely felt in the viewership and the hype overall. Now, is this a long-term thing that Valorant's gonna experience? Probably not. People are gonna go right back to the game. However, it is important to understand that Valorant has been artificially propped up just simply due to the fact that there is just no competition. I mean, there has been so few games. Valorant has been basically the only big release in a long time that isn't like a fully fledged full game. I'm not talking about Elden Ring, I'm talking about like a free-to-play FPS. Valorant has been pretty much all there is until recently. Now, it doesn't help the fact that the big tournament is over and franchising is being built right now. And with franchising, a lot of the pros are moving, a lot of them aren't streaming, and there's a lot of things going behind the scenes, and esports kind of played hand in hand with Valorant, where at this point, the majority of the people that play Valorant consistently are more veteran players. Valorant isn't getting as big of an influx of new players as it has been in the past. Most people have at least tried Valorant in one way or another, and a lot of people that are still around are more interested in the esports than ever, which is just kind of on hiatus right now for quite some time, and it will be like that for several more months. But once it comes back in full force, I would imagine that the Valorant hype will be directly connected more to the esports side of things for the foreseeable future. And it's gonna definitely be freaking hype. I'm excited for one, and I know a lot of people are excited, and we had record viewership in Champions, so I wouldn't imagine that that's going anywhere. Now, as far as Valorant is concerned, we've gotten a lot of good that I feel like we shouldn't take for granted. Consistent updates with new cosmetics, I bet a little bit overpriced, but still new and fresh cosmetics that have obviously taken a lot of development time and they look really freaking cool. And on top of that, balance has been pretty good and pretty frequent. I mean, sure, there have been some characters that might have been too strong for too long, but we haven't had any meta that is just completely unplayable. And the majority of Valorant players like the gameplay, and even though there's frustration here or there, most of that frustration is centered around smurfs and throwers, not really the balance of the game nearly as much. Now, in addition to that, we have huge things to look forward to, like, more agent balance. There's a lot of characters that I think the community really wants buffs, especially characters like Cypher, for instance, and just to move some characters around. People really like mix-ups, especially if they really like an agent that just isn't that good. They definitely love it when that agent gets big changes. And I think that the majority of people also wouldn't mind some amount of reworks here or there with characters. The Yoru rework was so insanely positively received that he's like a completely new character and he's such a blast to play. I think that was an amazing thing that Riot did, and I would love for them to do that more often. But it is a slippery slope because people kind of get attached to their characters and you don't want to take away that identity. But adding something spicy, taking an ability and, mixing it up and adding maybe even a more diverse ability is definitely a direction that I like to see. On top of that, we have this tournament system that is supposed to lead directly into tier, but we don't have really a lot of information about it. It's been something that has been teased for very long, and it's probably not really gonna line up until franchising, because that's when it makes the most sense. So it might be a ways off from now, and it's definitely something that we are looking forward to, but it's hard to know exactly how impactful something like that is. Now, these are all the good things in Valorant, and these are good. And while I think this is more than enough to keep an active player base and people happy, people grinding the game, it has to be said that Valorant, in a lot of ways, is a really hollow game. Now, they can get away with this by adding new characters and adding cool new skins, but when you just take Valorant and look from the outside looking in, there is so little content outside of the main core game modes. I mean, we haven't gotten that many consistent fun game modes, and most of the ones like Snowball Fight or whatever isn't really that developed. Like, they're not crazy, huge game modes that have taken a ton of time. They're kind of just slapped together and they're really fun. But in my personal opinion, and you might disagree with me, you can definitely let me know in the comments down below, I think Valorant needs things that add more depth to the game overall. And there's a ton of ways to do that. The biggest way is just to add more game modes, more content. Put a 1v1 mode, a ranked mode. Imagine how much content can be created around that. Add things like a custom map editor in the game, or maybe put in a replay mode. I know we've been asking for that forever, but imagine if we could set up our own little custom training mode where we could set up bots wherever we wanted, or we could set up little obstacle courses, or the sky's the limit with a game like Valorant. Like, it should really be a game that starts as what it is, which is really great, consistent updates, perfect for esports, but build off of that and add more and make it so the game feels really fun and exciting to play, even when you're not in the mood to go full tryhard, because that's kind of what it's right now. It's like you're either going like ham and trying to win, or just showing off your fun little gun cosmetics and just trolling around. Like, there's not that many game modes just to pop on with your friends and have a fun time. Like, for instance, I have IRL friends that like to play Valorant, but I'm not gonna just play Spike Rush with them all day, and I can't play comp with them unless I want a freaking Smurf, and unrated still just doesn't feel very fulfilling, especially when they're not in the same skill tier as me. Like, it just feels really hollow of an experience for us. Now, for the competitive side, I love it, of course, I'm having fun, but I think that there could be so much more added to Valorant, and especially over 2 years after the release, there isn't really much, and I think most of you would probably agree with me on this. In addition to that, I do think that Riot could add more exciting changes that really shake things up, and they've actually hinted to these in the past. For instance, having like weapon additions. They've talked about weapon additions in the past, and I know that balance is like golden, right? Everyone loves balance, but at the same time, you could still add new weapons slowly, one at a time, and then just see how it works, see how the weapon performs. And I think it would be really hype and exciting to add new weapons to the game, and that's something that Riot already said they want to do, and I think it'd be really cool. Overall, my final take is that Valorant is in a safe place, right? They're playing it safe, they're doing everything right, and the game is gonna stick around for a while. But I think that the huge hype is not gonna be here unless it's centered around esports for the most part. Esports is gonna be kind of where Valorant gets all of its hype, unless they start adding really cool new features to the game, because really the game is not much different than it was like a year ago. I mean, if we're being honest, it's really not. It's still the same great game that we love, but I think they could do more, and I want to see more, and I think you do too. But let me know if you agree or disagree with me in the comments down below. Maybe you don't, maybe you're having a blast. I want to hear about it. But thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to check out Sandbox for a chance to win 5 prepaid Game Elite Premium subs. It's going to be in the description right now down below.